Ah, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Now the whole world can see. It's obvious. It's completely obvious. If you watch the Toronto Raptors versus Brooklyn Nets game, it was clear. Straight sabotage. So at any given time, the NBA can just pull Kevin Durant from a game and say, it's COVID awareness, or like it didn't even make sense. I'm sitting there trying to figure out like what in the world are they even talking about? It was crazy. Now, there was a lot of weird games today, but nothing more than this. The Brooklyn Nets are clearly the most hated team in the league. The NBA commissioner decided to pull Kevin Durant in the most weirdest way in history. Kevin Durant had already been on the court. Pulling him would mean what? Kevin Durant, who has already had COVID back when it first started out, had tested positive for COVID last year. Not saying he can't get it again. It's very rarely a person can get it twice. Now, the fact that he was snatched out of the game, bench, breaking his multiple games of double points in a game due to a bizarre ending. It's crazy. I mean, they said, well, Durant had contact with an associate on Friday who had tested positive for the coronavirus Friday night, just hours after returning an inconclusive test shortly before the Nets game. That inspired a most dramatic exit as they just escorted Kevin Durant from the bench. They told him he needed to be isolated. Now, this is going to shock a lot of people because now it's like Kevin Durant said, "Free me," to Adam Silver. This looks like it's more in line to keep the Nets where they want the Nets to be rather than it is about public safety. It looked deliberate, it looked unnecessary, it looked malicious, and it looked targeted. If you look out at, he was initially held out of the game. Durant was initially, um, what they said, it was being reviewed about a foul on the play, which would have gave him 5 fouls. They gave Kevin Durant 5 fouls, in the game. They were trying to foul him out of the game. The refs. Okay. It's the third quarter. Kevin Durant has 5 fouls. You see what I'm saying? This whole game was a travesty. Before Durant left the court for the final time during the third quarter, he was sitting on the bench while they were trying to like review a play in which he had picked up the fifth foul. And then when the timeout came to the end, when they overturned the call, they was like, "Oh, he won't be able to continue." Durant just shook his head like, what are we doing here?" Now everybody's questioning what's going on. As the league was saying, I don't know, like Kevin Durant said, what did he say? Like when he was saying, "Free me." James Harden was asked after the game because it threw the whole team out of whack. And then they went out and played the game and then lost. And said, "I don't understand the whole thing where he couldn't play. Then he came onto the court. Then they took him back." He said, "There's just a lot going on. There's too much going on, and it's kind of overwhelming. We're in the midst of a tough game, and these games are going to add up, especially if we're talking about playoff seeding. To catch a rhythm, it's overwhelming and it's frustrating." And Kevin Durant was like, especially with him, having it, and we get tested every single day. He's been negative. So I don't understand what the problem is. The game should have been postponed. I feel like if we're talking about contact tracing, he was around all of us. So I don't understand why he wasn't allowed to play. Then allowed, then okay, he's allowed to play. Then nah, let's take him off the court. If that was the case, we should have postponed the game. Durant had the virus in March, right when they shut it down. And he had what? The antibodies in early January when they had lost 4 games because of contact tracing. 4 weeks later, Durant could be lost for about what, a 6-day stretch. You know, it's this is the bizarrest thing, man. I mean, how many times are they gonna pull this with Kevin Durant at any given time? Have you wondered why the Lakers have never had contact tracing? LeBron James has never contacted anybody who has the virus. No one has ever had a contact tracing for LeBron James. That's what I want to know right now. You think they're gonna pull LeBron James from the game? Do anyone believes Adam Silverslipper would pull LeBron James from a basketball game for contact tracing? No, they wouldn't. And the reason why they wouldn't do it is because it hurts their ratings. Plus, they want the Lakers winning. They know the team is inferior. They know this is an inferior player at this point. So let's get this guy winning because we promoted and pumped all our dollars into him. We wouldn't want him to lose while we pumping all this money into him. What's the next big step? Oh, let's not forget we need to make sure Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets are seated properly. We can't have them breaking out. And wouldn't you know, Kevin Durant just might not play against LeBron James or just be returning back to playing full basketball when it's time to play the Lakers. Oh, they'll make sure Kevin Durant is ready for that game. Oh, rest assured, they'll make sure he's ready for that game. See, the players know more than anybody that, hey, you know, this is a stretch where it's important for the Nets. They got to play Philly, Detroit, Indiana, and then Golden State, I think, on next Saturday. So, things are starting to pick up a little bit as they get to the midway point of a season that is like confusing at best because what is it really? How many times are they going to pull this throughout the rest of the season? Hmm? That's where we at. I don't trust Adam Silver. No one should. No one should. You're talking about you never snatch a player off the court who had already been around everybody else. So at this point, you want to continue with the game. You shouldn't have not one, not let him play, period. Didn't tell him go ahead and play. Then let's snatch him out of the game for contact tracing. It's foolery. You make it look ridiculous. You make it sound like there's something else going on here. And every time you do that, you're going to raise the questions and raise eyebrows as to say this is a conspiracy theory to try to help LeBron James win another championship, the LHL. Let's help LeBron. Once again, and people such as myself, who yesterday I decided, let's, you know, cover the game while it's live. I decided, let's do that. Big mistake. Huge mistake. Should have never covered this game live. And the reasons is very, simple. It's really laid out, really simple. The reason why I wouldn't do that is for the fact you have amongst yourselves different players in this league who work their butts off. They work very hard at what they do. And while they're working to the bone to try to provide the best entertainment for you people, you have people in the front office who want to dictate what they think you want to see. rather than letting the play on the court dictate what the people want to see. They pay people to give you a false narrative every day. They want to give you the narrative they think you would want to see. How about that? And this is supposed to be an organization, right? That's trying to right the wrongs and right the ship and get things flowing in the right direction and get people back interested into watching the games again. And they're still scratching their heads wondering why. Hmm? Why? Why everybody's not on the same page? Because this is ownership and the board of governors trying to dictate to the players, you're not going to interrupt our plans. No matter what you do, and use free agency to go against what we have in line, they're not going to care. What you do, they're going to say you're not bigger than us. We control the game. But it's hard to control three of the top superstars in the NBA all on one team. It's kind of hard to control that. That is a dynamic that is very hard to officiate. It's very hard to dictate how you want to proceed officiating a game without losing your integrity and compromising your scheme and your organization. Now, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to this page if you're new here. My cash app is Carcino, Karceno. Trying to give it to you the best I can before, I pass out sleep. I've been exhausted. You guys have no idea how exhausted I am. Shouts out to HD, Uncle Frank, everybody who's been holding it down. Nicholas Jacobs, T, Outlaw, LB, the rest of the crew. Thanks for the stream yards, man. Y'all been keeping us rolling, man. While we out here jet lagged and tired. Trust me, your boy Cino put in some work out here, buddy. Anyhow, man, I'm out. Peace.